All right, everyone. We are live again from Techno Security here in Wilmington, North Carolina. And you probably recognize this guy I have with me. You saw him, what was it, 2 weeks ago?
Was it 2 weeks?
Maybe, no. So Friday, a week and a half-ish
Yeah, I mean,
that you were just on.
it seems like yesterday.
It does. It does. It's gone
seems
by
like
in a blink.
It seems like yesterday. It's crazy.
Yeah, so this is Bill Aycock, and he is our master of phone, is what I'm going to call him today. And he alluded, if you remember the Hubcast that we did a couple Fridays ago, I think it was 2 Fridays ago. So the last one was Justin Tolman, and then you were the week before that.
Yeah,
that's right. And he showed a lot of cool, awesome pictures. That is one of my favorite podcasts that we've done on how to do some phone repairs and stuff that you have done. So what we had talked about, I think we talked about it maybe live on the air, or was it after the show? I can't remember. But he says, hey, what do you think about it just doing it live on the air?
Yeah,
and I'm like,
and that's great because we're here at Techno and there's so many vendors, there's so many classes here. What a great spot to do just a repair right here live online.
Why not? So we've tested some equipment. Man, I got really quiet when who was over there? Oh, it was Ronan. Look, hold on, you can't. Oh, there he is. This is Ronan. It says troublemaker for those of you guys that can't actually see it, and it describes him to an absolute T. All right, I'm dragging him on there tomorrow, sir. 100%. You're coming on the show tomorrow. Are you still here? Or are you leaving?
I'm here.
Okay, so we're bringing him on the show. What? All right, that's a promise. We got him on the show tomorrow.
And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and photobomb Ronan's. And
So-
I'll have a cool tag.
But
or
now you
something.
have, let's get a big sign.
Right.
So let's do it. I guess I'll be here, so you'll have to do
Right.
it.
I can do that. I can manage it.
All right, awesome. So we're going to show a little bit on now because the conference is officially over. Listen, it's never sounds that quiet here in this hall.
It is. It's
But
quiet.
everybody's kind of filtering out and go to dinner now. But we needed some awesome equipment, and you needed it from
iPad Rehab.
iPad Rehab.
iPad Rehab.
And you mentioned them on the last show, so we have the equipment here. We're going to test this thing out. Now, we tested it in the show. I have a GoPro here so we can kind of zoom in to see what he's doing. Obviously, we're just set up to do conversations, but we're going to do our best here. So kind of explain to me a little bit, and you may have to rehash for some of the people that didn't watch a couple weeks ago, but you can go back, and I'll refer to the video later down and below. But talk a little bit about why examiners need to know hardware.
This is the thing is in my industry, in phone industry, the phone has to work now.
Right.
You know, in the old days, and we talked about this, in the old days, you could do a chip off and you were fine. If the phone didn't boot up, if the phone didn't think it was a phone, then that was okay. We still had other ways to get the data that we needed. And nowadays, with file-based encryption, we've got to have a working phone. And so it has now come to the forefront of if a non-functional phone comes into your lab, you've got to make it work. And if you can't get that thing to work, then you're done. And the people that entrust us to do the work, they expect us to do the best we can. And so this is becoming so relevant. Learning the board level repair, having it in lab so that your trusted personnel can do the repairs and they understand chain of custody, they understand the importance of the evidence, and you're not outsourcing it to some unknown entity with no trust factor. So it is imperative, I think, now that every lab needs to have at least some type of in-lab repair. And, you know, in some cases, it needs to be some serious board level repair, like what we're going to do today. And a lot of the agencies that I talk to, they're very intimidated about this level of technology, this level getting down to the boards where they think it's really complicated. They're like, man, I can't do that. There's no way I can do that. And the answer is yes, you can. You can do this. It's not that hard. You can get this done, and you go through the training, and the training is really good. And I'm going to throw a plug in here for iPad Rehab.
Oh, please do.
This is
resource.
This is where I got the training. And Jessa Jones, the way she trains, it works with my brain. And it works with my brain. It's going to work with your brain too. So the way she teaches is retainable, and then they give you notes and stuff so you can go back. But this is a skill I think that every lab has got to get on board with. We cannot be sending evidence to the kiosk in the mall
Right.
for the high school
Oh,
kid to
man.
fix. And I have stories
And
like
you
that.
told me the story the last show
It
about
was,
that.
it was,
Exactly
and I
story.
couldn't believe it. I
Yeah.
couldn't believe it. But
Yeah.
we just can't do that.
Right.
So get these capabilities, get this training, and get it implemented into your lab.
Perfect. You ready to show? So
Yeah,
kind of
let's
set up
go.
the scene a little bit. What do we have here? I'm going to
So-
show it here in just a minute, but you do have to bear with me. We're going to try to negotiate this thing around.
So while he's negotiating, I'm going to set it up. So
go ahead. I'm going to jump up and stand around you here.
So this is the deal. You get a phone into the lab, and it's an iPhone 6 Plus in this case, and you cannot get the phone to boot up. Whatever you do, it will not turn on. And this is the point where you've got to make the decision. Either you call it dead, or you continue and get it fixed. And so what we're going to do is we're going to look at this iPhone 6 phone, and we're going to see what our problem is. So the first thing is I'm gonna plug it in here, and I'm gonna prompt it to boot. So I'm plugging it in, and I try to prompt it to boot. Did it boot up?
You got an Apple logo that came for a second.
So we're gonna prompt to boot, and then we unplug. As soon as I unplug, it goes out, right? So it's not staying booted. It boots up, and then it won't stay booted. And if we plug it in and leave it in, it's just not going to boot. So now we've got a problem. We don't have a phone that's working. So our first diagnostic tool is this guy right here. It's a DC power supply. Let's see. We're going to see what our power is doing to the phone. So we're going to have got DC power plugged in here. So now I'm going to plug in the DC power supply, and it's going to tell me where power is going. So right away, I see the amperage jump up. Now, if this was a working phone and I plug this in, if I connect power and insert power into the phone, this should be at 0. It should stay steady, but it's not. It's jumping up to 1.5 amps. And so what that tells me is, because I know and I've been to the training, that tells me that there's a short in this phone. Now, a short is a short to ground. That means that the electricity in the phone is going straight to ground. Now, I know through my training that straight to ground, something there is generating heat. When electricity goes straight to ground, it's going to generate heat. So what I've got here is a Seek thermal camera, and I'm going to plug it into my iPhone here, like so. And now I've got a thermal camera on my iPhone.
That's so cool.
So now I'm going to put this thermal camera over the phone here, and we're going to try to get it focused in, and we can kind of see it. One of the good things that I learned in Techno this year is that Jessa has a new camera that is really better resolution. So theory, if this phone has a short, it's going to generate heat, and this thermal camera is going to show me where that heat is generating from. So I'm going to inject power, and all of a sudden I see heat, right? So now I want to try to focus in on where I'm seeing that heat at. So we kind of see a flash right there. That is showing me there's a heat source right there that shouldn't be there. When I unplug, it goes away. When I plug it in, it flashes and it turns red. So that is where my short is. If I unplug it, it goes away. I plug it in and it flashes heat. That's where my short is. So now I'm looking at the board. I have to figure out where on this board my short is. Well, and I happen to know where the short is because I've already worked on this board. So we're going to, I didn't bring a tool with me, so we're just going to take my thumb and we're going to remove a component that's shorting. It is so small, you can barely see it. And you need a microscope at this level. Take this short, we're going to take the component completely off. So now what we've done is there was a component that was shorting on the board, and we saw it. Yeah, we saw it with heat.
Yeah.
Now, what I did with my thumbnail, this is like redneck forensics. You take your thumbnail and you fix it. So now what I've done here is I've removed the component that was shorting. So now we're going to go back to our power supply and see if we have a short again. So we're going to look at our power supply and 0, right? So there's no longer a short, right? I plug it in and it shows 0. That's good. We like that.
That's
We
good.
like that. So now let's go back to our phone. Our phone here. We're gonna set it back up. And if you notice, I don't have an entire phone. I have the board, right? So this is my evidence board. All these parts here, these are parts that I have, that I just have on hand. They're called known good parts. And so in order to extract this iPhone 6, all I need is a USB port like this to plug into UFED or Axiom or whatever I'm using. I need a power supply, and I need a screen just to see what's going on. Actually, I don't really need the screen to get the extraction going, but I'm gonna have a screen just so I know, I see that it's booting. So now here we go. We're gonna prompt to boot. We're gonna plug in here, and we should see an Apple logo come up again. Now remember, when we did this the first time, Apple logo. Hello. Oh, okay. How about we put some power on there? There we go. Okay. So now. Yeah, so we prompt to boot. Okay, there's our Apple logo. Now remember, when I unplugged it the last time, it went away. Now it's staying on.
Oh, look at that.
Now, and we look at the meter and we see some amp flow, right? So the amps are kind of dancing around here. This is telling me that the iPhone is actually starting to boot. It's going through its boot mode. It's drawing current from the DC power supply, and this is a good sign because the amperage is going in and out. It's kind of dancing around, and that means that the phone is actually trying to boot up. So let's see if our phone boots up now.
And all you did, I'm trying to talk without a mic here, is remove that component.
That's all I did. So the component was the problem, right? The component was shorting out, and it wasn't allowing the power to go where it needed to go. All the power was going through this one component. And that's what heated it up, and that's how we knew where it was, because it was generating so much heat. So now we're just waiting for. Are we gonna boot? Come on, buddy.
It's thinking.
Come on,
it's
buddy.
Thinking about it.
You think you can? There it is, right there. There it is, right there. So now we have a working phone. We can do our extraction, whatever equipment you're using. If you're using a Celebrite or a magnet product or an oxygen product. Now we have a working phone, and because we have a working phone, now the encryption is off, right? So file-based encryption is now off because we have a live device.
That's right. That's awesome. That is so awesome. And you didn't have to replace it. You just removed it.
That's right. So and the reason that is because at school, I learned that certain components don't have to be replaced. They can just be removed. Now, there are some components like resistors. They cannot be removed. They're intricate to the flow of electricity in the device.
Sure.
But most components, I mean, you can most of the, especially capacitors go straight to ground, and I know that because I went to training, right? So if I have a capacitor that's shorted, I can just remove the capacitor, and the phone will boot back up. It doesn't need it. It's not a must-have component, especially in my area, because I don't need this thing to become a working phone again.
Right.
I just need it to work it long enough to get an extraction.
To pull the evidence.
Right.
Pull what you need.
So that's the difference between the forensic end and the repair end. Is I'm not fixing the phone to put it back out to be a phone. I just need it to be a phone, or think it's a phone, long enough to get my extraction done.
That's awesome, Bill. Thank you so much for taking the time and showing that. I wouldn't even know where to begin with that, but I mean, you did it like boom, 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 boom. And so with training, right? Obviously, you do this in your lab all the time. And let me ask this first, can like a law enforcement agency or somebody who's having difficulties, I mean, even private sector, maybe they don't have the training yet and they can't wait to get the training and they need this done right away. Can they contact you?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. I do private sector and public sector work. And actually, Kevin, I get a lot of damaged devices from other labs that just don't have the capability. And they thank the Lord, they did not send it to the kiosk in the mall. They had more forethought and send it to somebody that's actually certified in this and is set up for this kind of forensic recovery, where we have chain of custody, we have secured evidence, and and we understand the importance of the evidence. And
Right.
so that's really important for your case, because you just don't want to send it to anybody. And if you are going to send it to somebody, make sure you're sending it to someplace credible, someplace that has reliable people. They understand chain of custody. But the best deal is just to get the resource yourself.
Get the training.
And
you went to I had rehab training.
yeah, iPad rehab, and they're here.
Yeah,
Techno.
yeah. She was. They were here just before we went
Yeah,
live.
they're here. They're great.
Funny,
A great
funny,
group of guys, or
funny.
great group of gals.
and they were funny. Yeah,
Yeah. So they only have one guy,
Uh-huh.
and that's Mark Schaefer. But the rest of them, they're every one of them are so great. The women there that do the shop in New York, and then Mark comes in from New York. He lives in Florida, but comes in and help teach. The whole team is phenomenal people. They're great people, and they're rock stars in the repair world. Rock stars, and they do some amazing work, and they teach the retention of their classes is really high. I mean, not only do they teach in a teachable manner, so Jessa Jones, the owner, was actually a teacher, so she understands how to teach, and she teaches to an elementary level, so she can teach to cops.
Right.
And the way she teaches, it worked in my brain. I retained it. I got a notebook. I wrote notes, and even if I have a question, I can go back to my notes and it reminds me. So just the way she taught was great. Great retention.
That's awesome. So if you're looking for that kind of stuff, you can obviously get a hold of Bill. How do they get a hold? What's your website?
Website is verifilab.com, and it's verifilab.com. I don't have a T-shirt.
No, you need to get.
I was like, oh, look at my T-shirt. No, that's not it. That's not it. But I'm here at Techno. Come find me. I'm here at Techno all week. I'll be speaking on Thursday. And if you have any questions about, how repair can be integrated into your lab, definitely find me. I can definitely give good advice about how to implement that into your lab. And part of that is the training part. And with iPad Rehab right here, if you're at Techno, iPad Rehab has a booth in here. Go talk to Jessa or the other girls there, and they can hook you up with a special law enforcement class if that's you, or a private sector class if that's you. But this is just something that needs to happen, Kevin.
I completely agree. When you, I remember talking to you. I first met you. Was it at a Techno I met you last year? Or was it long before that? No, it was before that.
Wow, it was
before that.
It was probably 3 or 4 years ago at a Techno, and then we just keep running into each other.
Yeah.
At events at IASIS, and
saw you there.
Yeah,
you
I'm
brought
everywhere.
this idea up to me, and I'm like, we have to put that on there. I'm so glad you took the time to make the suggestion, because I would have never thought of it. And the importance of it is critical, really, in the lab. Examiners should know that if you're doing mobile phones, especially, this should be in your wheelhouse 100%.
I agree, and again, any phone guy knows the phone's got to work. So you have a choice. You either you do it yourself or you send it somewhere else. And if you send it somewhere else,
that makes me nervous.
You better make sure you're sending it somewhere good.
See, I'm nervous when you say send it somewhere else, because that's what I did. My career was phones. I focused in on phones, and they're not nearly as advanced as they are now. But it was something very important. You had to have one that worked. And this is it was JTAG chip off stuff back then, but now that's become more of a challenge to deal with.
Yeah,
this is something that you deal with quite often. If something's not working, then they think, oh, they can't get anything off of that anyway, so we can keep it around. And then someone like you comes along and goes, I guess you have to watch the last episode that we did, because you showed a lot of pictures where that phone looked, it was bent. It looked like
those phones were destroyed. And I kind of regretted that, because we never talked about repair. I just showed a bunch of broken phones going, hey, look, these things look hopeless. Like these look like hopeless cases, but they're not.
Right.
And so, I'm glad today that we could actually do something and say, hey, look, it looks more complicated than it actually is. And there's a learning curve, just like everything else. There's a learning curve in it. But, like in your lab, if you have a guy that is like techno nerd, I mean, like he who I'm talking about. You know who I'm talking about. You send that guy to iPad rehab to get trained, and bam, you've got in-house repair, and it's reliable in-house repair. You got quality control with your own guy. So all those things are important.
They are. They absolutely are. So make sure you come check out if you're here at Techno and watching this maybe later on tonight or whenever it is. Make sure you come find Bill. He's I've seen him everywhere out there. And then also you know where to find him. Are you on? You're on LinkedIn.
Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn.
Absolutely, find him on LinkedIn. Go to his website. If you need some training, and you're not affiliated with iHead.
No, I'm not.
At all.
I'm not. I'm not an employee. I don't get.
You're a student.
Yeah,
from
I'm a
them.
student.
So
I'm a champion for them.
he's telling you where to go for it as well, based on his own experiences. So you guys check it out. Bill, thanks again for hanging out with us, man. I really appreciate it. You don't get 2 shot glasses though, man. But you earn a lifetime friend in me, guaranteed.
Yeah.
Man. So
yeah, absolutely.
So all right, hey,
absolutely.
I hope to have you back on. Maybe we'll show some more stuff a few weeks down the road. And if you guys have any questions, drop them in the comments below. I'll make sure Bill gets them. Until then, we're going to be doing lives again all day tomorrow, on and off. How have you enjoyed the show so far? Because it's officially closed now. They're pulling stuff out of the room and prepping for tomorrow already.
Yeah, the shows are great. So the classes are good. There's some big announcements today. There were some big announcements
I missed
today.
them because I'm here.
Right?
I'm
you're doing your thing. So big announcements. So this is really kind of the show to be at right now at Techno East. I mean, big announcements, big vendors. So this is the place to be.
Got the Atola crew walking by with those sailor's hat. Is that what that is? Oh, right on. Oh, right on. Excellent. Everybody's kind of walking by. I know we can't see them, and the show prevents us from. We can't actually film them either.
Yeah,
so
and
it's the way it is.
They're all making faces, and
it happens that way. But if you've never been to Techno Security, I highly recommend you reserve one. They have another one coming up. It's moved to Pasadena this year.
Yep.
On the West Coast, and I think I'm going to be there. The plans are currently to be there. We'll see how that goes. Because I just love coming to these things, man. Because I meet some awesome people, much smarter than me, and showing me some awesome things. It's pretty amazing. So our job is just to share that out with you guys as best that we can to help you along in your investigation. So again, Bill, I appreciate it. Thank you, and I know I'll see you tomorrow, and I'll see all of you guys tomorrow as well. Thank you.